Yes, come on in to this wonderful Winning Wednesday, baby. This is the Empowered Morning Show. We are here. We are ready. We are ready to plug you into your morning and give you a whole new, beautiful start of the day. Ladies, how are you this morning?
Not as tired as I was yesterday. Good
For
morning,
sure, for
ladies. Good
sure.
morning.
Woke up a little better this morning.
Amen. Amen to that.
I forgot to do my stretches this morning. Natasha, call
Uh-oh.
me at 5 o'clock and say, "Do."
5 a.m.
What you say, Natasha? Listen, you better set you an alarm and call yourself because I won't be doing that.
Ah,
I need
say
I need
stretch,
someone
girl.
I need someone to call me and wake me
Thank
up at 5
you.
a.m.
What you say? Hey, I need somebody to call me and wake me up at 5 a.m.
Ah,
Maybe
Right,
it's
because
Angela.
she
Maybe
better
Angela needs to
stretch.
call me and then she'll call you to have you
Angela
stretch.
ain't finna call nobody. I'm not
Baby,
counting on her. I will
that's why
not.
she said Natasha first, because she
Yes,
already
I
knew
am
I was
not
going to be
counting
like,
on her. Like, no, that is.
wait on me if you want to.
It might be 5 a.m., but not in Angela's house. It's not.
Hey, thank
No.
you. Listen, I'm like, which time zone do you need that 5 a.m. to be in? Because, see, her 5 a.m., baby.
It's a different kind of 5 a.m.
Yes, yes. She better do it before she go to bed. She better take that stretch on and make sure it works for her. Good morning, everybody. Miss Phyllis is already bright and perky this morning. She said, good morning, blessed Wednesday morning, empowered women and men of God. Yes, Farika, thank you
Yes.
for hitting the highlight. Good morning, Miss Patricia. We appreciate you all being here. Thank y'all so much for showing up. You know, it's comforting to see certain people on the,
It is.
it's like,
It
hey,
just
girl,
puts a
yeah, hey,
smile
my
on your
folks are here.
face.
It's like a mini family reunion virtually. Yes,
Yes.
for
Love it.
sure.
Love it. Love it.
So y'all know that yesterday when we were talking, we really got down into some things, and the theme for this year is healing for real. And I don't even know that we will stop that because that is a continuous journey, a continuous process, and we always want to become her or become him, which is the best version. God created us to glorify him, and we can do that when we are best operating in our greatest self. And so, when you're dealing with things, and we all have dealt with things, and
Mm-hmm.
some people handle it harder than others, and some of the things, of course, weren't fair. Some were self-inflicted, some were us just minding our business and getting pulled in because we want to be in control, or we want to handle whatever comes our way and manage it instead
Whatever.
of giving it to God. And so, however you show up, however you got your drama, your trauma, and your dysfunctional things that have happened to you, we want you to heal from that because becoming a better version requires you to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Because
It requires
how
it.
they
Like
tell you
you.
how you look at somebody, you're on TV and they like somebody rings the doorbell, so they're rushing to put things in the closet or up on the bed, or you want to hide your mess, right? Well, that's kind of sort of what we do when we continue to allow the things that happen to us, the little girl inside or the little boy inside
Yes.
who has dealt with some stuff. We just kind of push them in the closet or, slide them under the bed and hope nobody
Won't
sees
nobody see them.
the mess
Yes.
that's inside. And so, we got to normalize being okay with dealing with those things. And one of the things we talked about, besides, great communication, is having boundaries. And boundaries not being for other people, boundaries being for you. So Natasha, with her brilliant self, said that, hey, baby, it's not just one boundary that you're going to do. It's about 9 or 10 different boundaries that I was like, look, come
Okay.
on,
She
Natasha.
didn't just say that boundary from answering the phone. She said, "No, I need you to go get that hula hoop. If
Baby,
they jump in your hula hoop, they are in your business. You are too
yes.
close."
You better shake them off. You better hula hoop it on out and be like, no, baby, this is my hula hoop. Because my hula hoop is full of my stuff.
Yes,
My becoming,
it's
my dealing
all
with being
mine.
healthy. It's all mine. And you know what? You would think that when you talk about your hula hoop and you think that that would be anything that pertains to you. So, we'll include our kids and our spouses and our jobs and
Mm-mm.
all those things because we're thinking like that's our stuff. Natasha said, no, boo boo, no. Your
No, baby.
It's all about self.
Yes.
oh no, Ting Ting
It's not
Bottom.
I'm Alicia's mom. No, that's not
That's
part.
not in your hula hoop. That's right. So, Natasha, I think let's clarify that because I think for so many people, even when we talk about somebody says, tell me about yourself, we always go to the titles and the roles that we have versus talking about who we are. And to
I'm
be honest, I don't
exciting.
think
I
most
love
people even
life.
know who
I'm
you are. Honestly, outside of saying I'm somebody's mom, I'm somebody's wife, I'm an employee here, I have this business, it's all external things that we use to identify who we are. So, can you speak to the internal hula hoop and then let's jump into these boundaries?
Sure. So I think we had a conversation yesterday offline, and we discussed the difference between attachment and connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're describing is so many of us have attached ourselves to the roles that we have in our lives with the people in our lives, or
Mm-hmm.
or the title or the status with the job. And over time, when you become attached to something, right, you think of anything that you sort of stick to, so to speak, your identity is then shaped and influenced by that thing that you're attached to, because you've grabbed a hold of it, and it's almost a little bit possessive. You believe it's yours, right? Sparkle, like when you said, yes, those are your children, but really your children still have individuality. They're
yes.
still their own people, but we attach ourselves to them. And so that's what makes losing or having to let go and surrender so difficult for so many people, because and again, always speaking from my own past experiences, because I'm attached to this thing. Now my identity is shaped by this thing. So if this thing, whatever it is, you fill in the blank: job, status, money, children, relationships, whatever that might look like for you, and it goes away for whatever reason, right? You're powerless over the fact that you have to separate from this thing. You begin to believe that there's a part of you now that's missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've been attached to it. It's almost became your other half of you.
Yeah, especially
And so now,
divorce, Natasha.
divorce, losing a
Mm-hmm.
job. We see it with people with retirement who, when they retire, and I think we might have mentioned on the show yesterday, that struggle with not knowing what to do and
Mm-hmm.
feeling a loss of identity. I mean, I see it a lot with first responders, men in the military, men, police officers. My ex-husband was like that. When he resigned from the job, that's all he knew, because he stepped into that role in his 20s,
Mm-hmm.
right? So by the time he was almost 50, it's like, who am I outside of that role as a police officer? Because he attached to it so much, it defined him. And so now
Mm-hmm.
with retirement, as much as he knew he needed to leave the job, there was a huge part of him that was just at a total loss and not knowing who he was,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in something like that, that's where boundaries are needed. It's understanding that we need these degrees of separation between us and whatever else is in the world. God created us for connection, but we
Mm-hmm.
as human beings find ourselves attaching to things and wanting it to be ours. This is mine and this is
Mm-hmm.
mine. So like when you talk about the hula hoop, yes, you think, okay, well, my marriage is mine and my house is mine and my children are mine. And like, no, actually, your children have their own hula hoop, and each of your children have their own hula hoop. Your
Mm-hmm.
husband has his own hula hoop. Your best friend everybody has their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the goal here is for you to recognize that you have your own personal space within the multitude of relationships that you have. And that allows you to learn on how you can connect to things rather than attaching to everything. In connection, I want you to think about like when you plug your phone charger into the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You are connecting the phone charger to electricity for it to connect and for it
Mm-hmm.
to charge. You get to pull your phone out of that source, and your phone still gets to function, right? Because it's fully charged.
That's good.
It got
That's
it got
good.
connected, and it can
Mm-hmm.
function on its own. That's what
Mhm.
God designed us to do,
Wow, that's
is to
deep.
plug
That's
into
That's
deep.
him.
really good. Yes,
And
that's
now
really
it can
good.
connect. Now it can function on its own because it
Without
has.
being, without still being plugged in.
Correct. And
Yes.
without believing that somehow my phone being me isn't going to work because I'm not plugged into this thing all
Right.
the time. I don't need to be plugged into it all the time.
Wow.
Because the electricity that you have allowed to fill your battery has positioned you to be able to be self-sufficient without being connected all the time. So going
Correct.
back to, I had an interview with Miss Karen last night, and good morning, Tina. Good morning, Kelly. And one of the things we talked about is she said, when we talked about self-care, she's like, I really don't do a lot of self-care per se because, I love helping people. That's my thing. And then she said, well, you know what? Let me back that up because my time that I spend with God is my self care. As I'm pouring, getting Him, as we're having this reciprocal relationship that pours into me, that fills me up. So I thought about it, as far as when you're driving a car, there are different types of people who drive and who fill gas up, right? You have people who say, baby, I'm riding this thing to the E, to the light come on, and then I'll find me a gas station and I'll fill up then. But what if something happens like in 9/11 when it was wrapped around the corners? Now, what if you were the person who is going on empty all the time? Now you're trying to figure out, oh my God, I'm probably
How am
going
I
to
gonna
run
do
out before
this?
I get to a gas station that's open, or in some cases, some were closed. So if you're that person, you're constantly on edge and because you're thinking like, oh, okay, oh my God, my light is on. I got about 20 miles, 30 miles or so, and then I got to find me something. Oh, this gas station is closed. Oh my God, you're in always in a
Yeah,
kind
you
of
panic.
panic mode versus the person who says, you know what, I know that I need gas in my car. So what I do is I don't wait until it gets empty. When it hits halfway full, I go get my refill. That way I always know that no matter whether or not, sometimes I may not make it at half full. Maybe it's going to go to a quarter, but I still know I'm not panicking because I have opportunities to get gas and I'm always constantly knowing that I'm going to be good. It's a
Yeah,
whole
that's
different
good.
mindset.
Yeah, and it's a mindset thing. Like some people feel like the gas station's gonna be there no matter what. Like I
So
can get to.
that's you attaching, that's you depending on
Mm,
that one source,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas God is our primary source. And God says, seek me, come to me, connect with me, and I will fulfill you and I will give you all the gas that you need, right? So that
Exactly.
you can function in this world. And somewhere along the line, through generations, we find ourselves attaching things and becoming very possessive of things that aren't ours. I mean, something that I've learned, that my children belong to God first before they belong to me,
yeah,
True, true,
right?
true.
And so the same way he wants me to have an identity in him, my children need an identity in him, not in me,
yeah.
not in their
Not
job, not in the money that they make, not in the relationships that they're going to get. And we're not teaching our children these things. And people might say, well, they go to church, they're learning it. They also need you to model it because they need to see
mm,
what that looks like, right? We
it's
need
that
to be a
modeling.
healthier, correct.
So let me say this, Natasha, because what I got instantly when you gave the hula hoop illustration is like, okay, you got your hula hoop, so you doing your thing, your hula hoop is moving around. Now you said your children, and each child has to have their own hula hoop. Your spouse has his hula hoop. Your whoever else, people, friends, or whatever, everybody has their hula hoops. But when you think about it, the way that we are trained to operate, everybody's bumping into each other's hula hoops because you want to get in somebody else's business. So instead of their hula hoop being able to go around and they do their thing because you want to be in somebody's business, you're crashing
You're
into it instead
crashing.
of
Yep.
interlocking. So you see a lot of people bending down having to pick their hula hoop back up because you've crashed into theirs. And then you go and say,
Because
oh,
you're
let
off
me go ahead and get in
balance.
Sparkle's business and see what Sparkle's talking about. And let me tell Sparkle about herself and Sparkle. And then, I'm running over here and now I've bumped into hers. And then, so.
So, well, this is how we don't bump into each other. So this is a great segue into boundaries and why boundaries are important. Because
Mhm.
if Sparkle has boundaries, Sparkle will communicate, hey, you're getting too close. I need you to back it up. Right. And I don't think that it's on here. I mean, I think they have it listed as physical boundaries or like spatial boundaries.
Mhm.
Um, but it's about you being aware of self, being aware of your personal space, and
Mm-hmm.
you making the personal decision to say, are they coming in my direction? Are they getting too close? And even if sometimes it creeps up on you where somebody just somehow lands in your hula hoop without you even recognizing it, let's just say that,
Yeah.
you immediately need to communicate. So communication and boundaries go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to first know what you need, right?
Yeah. That's the
And
part
then,
though. That's the starting part. It's because most people don't even know what they need.
oh
They're
Lord, come on now.
because they getting
That
their
right there
need,
is a whole preaching word.
they getting their need
Yeah,
and their wants mixed up.
mixed up.
Like
Correct.
wants and needs are not the same.
But then you think about, I want this thing, right? Or I need this thing. But if I have a limiting belief that tells me that I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving, or if I say something, they're going to abandon me, or they're going to reject me, or they're going to leave me. Remember, all this stuff ties together.
Yeah.
My limiting beliefs holds me back from asking for what I need. And now I find myself not being truthful and
Wow.
communicating what
That's
I need. And
good.
so I'm gonna tolerate whatever you give to me because I believe that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and I'm not deserving.
So
Mm.
people can jump in and out your hula hoop when they get ready,
Whatever they
baby,
like.
and you have no block,
And just
and you stay
strip
picking it up,
you.
and you stay picking your hula hoop up because somebody has gotten into your space. You stay now your hula hoop got dents.
And here
it's
and
It's
here's
not
what
even all
people
one circle no more. It's
it,
just a
it's oblong. It's no longer a circle.
actually
It's an
I'm gonna
oval.
I'm gonna tell you what happens. You no longer have your hula hoop. It's been
oh,
dissolved,
because
right?
you ain't
You
giving it
keep
up.
yeah, you keep
Well, I
removing
mean,
your
you keep
She
on
got a
right.
piece. He got a piece. He got a piece.
exactly.
As
You
much
ain't got
plastic
nothing.
as it is, you know what? Is if you continue to allow people to jump in and expand your hula hoop, at some point there's a breaking point, and once it breaks, there's no way of
Correct.
picking it. I mean, it's not a way.
Correct.
I mean, but you have to patch it up. But you look
Correct.
at your hula hoop, and now there are no boundaries because any and everybody can come through and do whatever they want to. And when you don't have boundaries, that means that your peace is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Your joy is gone. Your
And
well-being is
drained.
Yeah.
gone. Your identity, the,
Yeah.
the
Yep.
time, everything that helps you to become healthy and whole
So
disintegrates.
you lose yourself, and you lose your, if you didn't have your identity before, you now lose, you lose your identity in this process,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
and this is huge because we have a lot of people out there that will say to me, boundaries don't work. Okay. So let me make this really abundantly clear.
Clear
Boundaries
that.
are boundaries are for you. Boundaries are not for another person.
Yep.
Boundaries are not designed to control an outcome.
That
Boundaries are
part.
not boundaries are not designed to punish people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this thing, well, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. That's not what a boundary is. A boundary is you recognizing what you need, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate, what you need in your life versus what you don't need in your life. And coming back to what Sparkle says, you have to first do some reflective work to realize what you need, and not what you need from the other person, what you need for yourself, like Angela
For
said, feel
yourself.
to feel loved, to feel whole, to feel fulfilled, right? What do you need?
Yep.
And
And
a lot of,
go
sorry, go
ahead,
ahead.
Natasha. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for a lot of people who are out there doing service work, whether you're a first responder or you're serving in the church, I might hurt some people's feelings this morning. There are as many of us out there that are serving. And when you talk about that, I'm doing that and it fulfills me, we get addicted. We get
Oh
attached
yes. Easy.
to
Easy.
doing that service work, that when we get sick or something happens where we can't serve, whether that's temporary or
That takes
permanently,
the all the way out.
that takes you all the way out. And that shouldn't take you all the way, because that means you're not connecting to your source. You are attaching to this thing that brings you pleasure. You're
Yeah.
attaching to something that makes you
Ooh,
feel better
Natasha,
about
you
yourself.
have throat punch
Natasha,
and
that is
gut punch
so
to people
good.
that giant. Because the
Because let
reality
me
is, a lot
tell
of
you.
people do believe that. They do feel like, I've got to show up. It's like Sparkle said yesterday about people who don't want to take time off from work. You don't want to take time because you feel like they can't function without you. You got to be there because nobody's going to get their report done. Nobody's going to do this. And so you self-sabotage
Mhm.
because the attachment to your job and your title supersedes everything.
Well, it defines your identity, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
so attached to it because I believe that if I perform, if I do X, Y, and Z, this makes me look like a good person. But you
Mm.
are a good person whether you do it or
You're a
not.
good person regardless, whether
Yes,
you
Kelly said you're talking to her. Spot on. You're a good person
praise God.
regardless, Kelly.
And me,
Amen.
me, Natasha, that is so deep because the 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 unhealed version of myself. On Mother's Day, I buy everybody a Mother's Day gift. Let you go get one, you go get one, you go get one, you go get one. Everybody, like grandmamas, auntie, like anybody that I have saw as a role model. Not that that's a bad thing,
Sure.
but because of how my mind was functioning, of I want them to see me and honor me and see that that was the part of the giving. That because if you wanted to give them a small gesture, a gift or something, it's 365 days in the whole year.
That
Why
you
do you
could
have
give.
to choose a
Correct.
Mother's Day that you have to buy everybody a gift?
And I was just telling a friend about this, and people might think, "Well, my God, Natasha, you're cold," and you probably think like most men. But when you think about all these holidays, they're all commercialized.
They
They
Whether
all
it's
are.
your
They
commercial.
understand.
They're
whether it's
all
your
about money.
yeah, whether it's your Valentine's Day, your Mother's Day, or your Father's Day. Let's just start with those three, right? And somebody said the other day, "What about a day for those who aren't mothers? What about a day for those that aren't fathers? Why aren't we celebrating those individuals?" And that is a really great question
Yes.
because we should be celebrating and honoring ourselves every single day. So that when
Yes.
Grateful.
these little this one day out of 365 days that we want to celebrate it and spend all this money, if you were taking care of yourself or somebody was honoring you throughout 365 days of the year, that is just another day on the human calendar that we
Yeah.
are celebrating. But
Tasha, and let me tell you, this year is my first year that I did not do it. I bought my mother, my biological mother, a gift. I bought her a gift and nobody else a gift. The feeling like that emotional in my heart, it was like like you like I had released
these
the burden
this
that I put on
obligation,
myself of feeling
yeah.
like I gotta do this. Like I'm telling you, I'm on Amazon ordering. I'm like, oh, I have to do this. Says who? Who said
The
Who
inner
told
critic,
who told
the
you?
the
And
inner
that's a
critic.
great indication of being able to regulate yourself. When
Mhm.
you start feeling overwhelmed and not being able to do something that nobody even required you to do, you're putting pressure on yourself, then you have to check, what is this coming from? Is this coming from my heart and a good gesture? Because if it is, whether I give it to you on Mother's Day or whether I give it to you 2 weeks later or whether I give it to you 5 months later, it doesn't matter because it's coming from
Correct.
my heart and you're going to get it when I give it to you versus the pressure is on
The
and oh my God.
expectation.
And I got, because I need to feed into the,
that in
oh, you're so thoughtful. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, because that
and
narrative
I'm
takes me
still
high,
that
like,
same
I
sweet
did
girl.
that.
You still that same sweet girl. That now, when you start, what I have realized in this healing journey, nobody understands it though, because you have gotten them used to a normal. Now you are holier than that. Now she's all about herself and she's stuck in herself, because you have to realize when you get people used to breaking your boundaries, when you get used to people, they're like, wait a minute.
You teach people how to treat you.
You
You
Yeah.
can,
can't be mad when someone disrespects
you
you because
cannot.
let me hit it to you straight. You disrespected yourself when you did not uphold your boundary. And that's the second part of the definition of boundaries. So again, boundaries is something that it's for you. It's not about consequence, reward, and punishment. It's not to control a desired outcome. Boundaries are designed for you to have that line in the sand that says, this is what I need. And here comes the second part of a boundary. And this is super, super important. If you communicate your need to someone and that individual disrespects and or challenges that boundary, You have a personal responsibility to yourself to uphold your boundary and hold that individual accountable.
Mm.
And the minute that you don't, and I'll give an example, I don't need you calling me out of my name. And
Woo!
the next time you call me out of my name, this conversation's over, right? That's a
Mhm.
boundary because I just told you I don't appreciate you calling me out of my name. And the next time that you call me out of my name, I'm going to remove myself. I don't need you to change anything about you because I can't control that, right? But
Mhm.
I can regulate myself. So I'm going to remove myself from the situation. So you fast forward, I don't know, day later, week later, month later, year later, the person calls you out your name. And what do? When you stand there and you take it, you right
Mm-hmm.
in that moment did not say what you said a week ago, a month ago, a year ago that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to remove yourself. And in that moment, you non-verbally told the other person that you don't even respect yourself enough to honor your own boundary. So why should they?
This is so good, Natasha. That's just like the women group that call each other bees. Like they call, like, what? Like you be. Everybody's a bee. Like,
B.
what? Like, how is that okay? And
Well, and
I remember being in a friend group that did that, and I was like, oh no, don't call me that. And they're like, it's not meaning anything. Yeah, it's meaning a whole lot
but
to
it's
me.
but it's programming, right? So over time you keep saying something, words have power. You
Mm-hmm.
keep saying
Mhm.
something, it is going to register within your system, right? And now this becomes, and if you're not careful, you'll find yourself going out there and somebody who doesn't know you, that word is going to come right out of your mouth and you can offend somebody, right? You're thinking it's not a big
Absolutely.
deal, but it may be a big deal for someone else. So
That is the thing. And I don't think enough people honor other people's boundaries or
Yeah. Oh
respect
no.
other people's boundaries
Right.
because you just think like even when we talk about and then Natasha we'll go down and so we won't run out of
sure.
time but to really break down the different types of boundaries. But say if somebody lives in California, well, y'all know that's 3 hours difference from an Eastern Standard person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 hours from a Central Standard person. Well, you may get up and be bright eyed and bushy tailed at 5 a.m. Eastern time, and you're like, I'm sending them messages and all this stuff, and they're thinking, and that's not being respectful of their
Oh,
time, unless
definitely
you know what I'm
DMs.
saying. But we just feel like, oh, because we're up and ready to go, that we need to just go
The
ahead and do
whole
what we
world
want
is
to,
up.
and the whole world needs to be up. Like, what? You ain't responding back. I sent you a message at 5, but baby, your 5 is
It's
not
not my
my
five.
5. I'm in the bed at 2 a.m.
Yes.
Give me a
But
moment to wake up.
even if you were on the same time zone, I love what you just said. Human beings operate on expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm doing this, you should be doing this. Well, if I can do this, why can't you do this? We are
Yeah.
not the same,
We're
folks,
Yeah.
not the same.
right?
Just because
At
you're
least the
up
way we
working out
operate.
at 5 doesn't mean somebody else is up working at
Yes,
5. They may
Sparkle.
have just
Yeah.
been getting off of work. You know what I'm saying? That lives
Or
are
yeah. Or just because one person said, "Oh, it doesn't bother me." You can't put that in the category
thank
That
because
it does
you.
it
not going to
doesn't
bother.
Thank
bother one
you.
person.
Correct.
Thank
You
you.
still,
Correct.
because we do that very well in DMs. If the group DMs, woo woo woo, them group DMs is a like sometimes you like like you will remove. I have removed myself
Mhm.
because this is too much.
Because it really needs to be maybe operating hours, on anything. We don't, I'm gonna tell you what I feel like as a society, we've done away with etiquette.
Mm.
There
Mm.
is no etiquette. Back in the day, you used to dress up and go when you went out to eat or dress up to go to, and then we just started
Yes.
saying we want everybody to be comfortable and come as you are. You don't have to do anything more, just show up. Whatever you got on, just do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you come on time for church as long as you're here, God. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
It's
that's so good.
but it's just that we have just gotten so relaxed, or even to, when somebody, because I'm really big, I don't care how old, y'all know I'm almost 60 years old. So it can be people who may be 40, but I might still say, hey, Miss Such and Such, or hey, Mrs. What, you know what I'm saying? People don't even
Oh
put
yeah, I
handles on
feel
people's
that
names
too.
anymore. They just like, hey,
No.
such and such, and even for me, that's a lot, but that's part of my upbringing, of calling people Mr. Such and such or Mrs. Such and such.
Same.
I just feel like we have watered down boundaries so much that,
There
hey,
It's
isn't
not.
any.
It's not
There
even
isn't
fair.
any. And I'm going to tell you right now, in working with a lot of families, I hear people say to me, they didn't even grow up. What's that?
No,
oh, Randy
Veronica
Parika talking
said.
about her kids will say, Mama, you too loud in the morning. She said she'd be wide awake. Look, Sparkle Jr. Because Alicia would be
Yes.
like,
Alicia would say all the time, like, girl, just because you're up don't mean the whole world is up. Why are you out here disrespecting everybody because you are you ain't had a touch with God? Everybody's not had that touch yet. Like,
thank you. Look, would you say she running down the street? I believe God. You believe God? And she's
yes.
like,
We believe
Oh, that is so
we do, but not this early in the morning. My mother used to do that. As soon as she got up, pulled back the blind, she's blasting the music and she's singing. I'm like, bro, like really? Like, you're 6, 7 years old and you're just trying to catch some Z's and she's
That
over
is
here just.
so. Oh my gosh, I'm like my toes are hurting because that just hit like every toe jam.
the reality is we can feel disrespected when somebody does something that is not on our thing, but we don't think the same thing about being respectful to other people's
Yeah.
thing. You know what I'm saying?
And it's something that small.
I'm going to go one step further. We don't even pay attention when we're disrespecting ourselves. You're talking about disrespecting somebody else. The reason why you're disrespecting somebody else is because you disrespect yourself first. Like, we have things so inside out. We spend so much energy on what's happening external of us. Things like judgment, things like being critical,
Yes.
things like lacking forgiveness. Everybody thinks it starts outside of yourself. It starts with you. Stop judging you. You won't judge other people. Stop being so self-critical. You wouldn't be criticizing other people. Learn to forgive and receive forgiveness from God and know what that actually feels like so you could know why it's important to forgive somebody else.
Oh my gosh.
Come
Natasha, that is so good. When somebody tells you, oh, you look so pretty today. And like, oh, I do? Like, it's
I'm working. I've had to work on that one. I've had to learn to say thank you. And I learned that I was dishonoring myself and the creation that God, who God created in me by saying, oh, well, I don't like this.
Yes, that is so disrespectful
to God. And to self.
Even adding a caveat to that to say, if somebody says, oh, Sparky, you look so good. She's like, oh, girl, this is something I got like last year. Nobody asked you to give me.
Nobody asked you when you got that. Like,
thank you, and keep on. Nobody asked you where you got it from, what you're doing with it, and how long you done had it.
I have had this. Girl, I have had this forever. This ain't nothing. Who asked you that?
You're cute. I just said good morning. You're cute. I like it.
And then that person is like, I bet I won't tell her she looked good. I don't want to hear that whole essay. I was just saying, you look nice.
Thank you.
How those what that makes me think of those award shows when the celebrities tell you the designer that they're wearing. That's what happens with us. We want to tell you where we got it from and who made it and how long we had it. And it's like, that's all I was saying was that you look good.
Yes. Nobody cares. Because if I wanted to know that question, Natasha, I would say, oh my God, I love that shirt you have on.
Where did you get that from?
Where did you get it from? That's a total different. I mean, it's just like, fair. Interviews. When someone is interviewing you, if they ask you a question, just answer the question. Don't go into the whole world history. And now I'm like, no, because they don't know how to stick to the script. They don't know how to do the assignment and just stick to the assignment. They're going to be all over the place.
And you just blew up your own interview and you didn't even realize it, right? Because you just couldn't answer the question.
Because the person who was interviewing you is like, mine has went on to the next candidate. Like, child, as soon as she wrapped this on up, let me get up out of here so I can get to this next person who hopefully will.
Because what I'm not going to do every day of my life, I'm not going to sit here and listen to her ramble over and over and over. So no, this ain't it.
And that goes into another conversation about communication and learning to actively listen. we don't often actively listen to what people are asking us. So what did
Really?
Frida say?
Freaking says same, just like that about my voice. I be stuck, like how to respond. I don't want to give a holy response all the time. It's like, Rika, just say thank you. Miss
Just
Patricia said
say
I had to
thank
practice
you.
saying thank you without giving extra responses. Yes, because we feel like we owe people extra stuff,
We
and
owe
people are looking
everybody
like, ma'am, I didn't need
an
all that. You know,
explanation. No. I had because it's disrespectful again because people have scheduled a time like I have 30 minutes and I want to do it in 30 minutes. People like, well, shoot, I stayed in there for an hour. I know it's good. I know it's good.
you stayed there for an hour because you couldn't shut your mouth.
Listen, there have been moments I would ask a question, and the minute the question came out, the person went on and on. In my head, I go, "I'll never
Why
ask
did
that
I
question
ask
again."
that?
I'm
Hey,
like, "I'm never
talking
asking
about
that
I
question."
checked all the way out. I'm like, somewhere else in
We've got to do.
line.
We have to
I
do
mean, we
better
all
in
guilty
listening.
of it. It's
We
Yes,
just
do. We
do
do.
we
better in
didn't
listening.
understand that it was really like it was disrespectful to yourself. So now we walking around. Oh, am I being disrespectful? Oh my gosh, did I respect me? Did I respect God?
And so this kind of comes back because I know I don't want to run out of time, but this comes back to we sum this up. You can't be mad when people disrespect you, and what I mean by that is before you get mad about somebody disrespecting you, ask yourself, did you respect yourself first? Ask yourself, did you communicate and did you set a boundary? Did you help that individual
Yeah.
understand what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not
Yeah.
willing to tolerate? Because if you didn't communicate it, because what oftentimes here's what we do. We believe that if if we don't want to be treated a certain way, we just avoid them and move to the side. Avoidance is not a boundary, right? And avoidance is not communication. It's you
Oh
being
my
passive
gosh.
and just being like, I'm just gonna go ahead and push you away, and I'm gonna
That's that
push you left
block.
and to the right.
That's
Yeah,
that block.
right.
But
But
Natasha,
that's not a
that
boundary.
kind of it rolls us into because the average person, you don't have emotional boundaries. You don't communicate and you jump in and then you allow your emotions to take you all over the place. So now you're mad because you've
Because
absorbed
you
their
wasn't
mood or you
because you
taking in their
wasn't
problem. And now you're all over the place because you didn't set an emotional boundary. Like you said before, if somebody calls you out your name, that is I guess that would be considered the emotional boundary, right? If somebody
Well,
is
yeah, I mean,
being
the first
disrespectful to you.
the first thing is someone calls me out my name. I don't need to get all up in an emotional uproar. I'm going to use the B word, right? You refer to me as a B. I don't need to get angry with you. I know that I'm not a B. And so I'm very going to politely say, that is not appropriate. I am not comfortable with that. And so if you're going to continue to use that around me, I'm going to have to excuse myself. That's it. I don't have to get myself into an emotional tizzy because you said it. I know me. I know that I'm not a B. I'm not going to stress about it. So that would be an emotional boundary. It's like, I am not going to allow myself to absorb what's happening here. You want to act the fool. You want to get crazy. You want to do you, as they say, do you, boo. But I'm going to go ahead and move to the left. No,
exit.
understand you have to communicate that to someone. I don't just get up, grab my stuff, and just book out, right?
Hey, what's wrong with her?
Exactly, right? But you let the person know, I'm not comfortable with that. That's not appropriate for me. And you give them an opportunity to sort of what I call course correct. You have an opportunity to say, okay, my bad, I'll work on that, or okay, I won't do that around you, whatever. But if that person now gets upset and they want to engage in conflict, I'm going to disengage from that conflict by saying, have a great day, grab my stuff, and get out.
Because
right?
overall, what you're doing with that is protecting your peace, protecting your feelings, protecting your mental space.
Correct.
And when you said we disrespect ourselves, when we allow ourselves to get caught up into the other person's hula hoop, where now we're back and forth and we're arguing, we're fussing and all these things. Because we're drawn ourselves into something that
correct.
we shouldn't have been in. We should have protected our peace and said
correct. And then you get mad and you say, this person did this and this person did that. It takes two to tango. It takes
Yeah.
two to have a conversation, because if there's not another person there, then I'm just talking to myself, right? So it takes two to have a conversation. And so you're engaging. And I always say you don't have to attend, or you don't have to RSVP to every party you're invited to, right? So
Oh, yes.
somebody invites you to a fight, you don't have to fight.
You
Be like, that's not for me. I'll
don't
talk
have
to
to
you
sign
later.
up for it. I'll meet you at 10 o'clock on.
Or 3 o'clock in the parking lot. Like,
Right.
there's no need for that, right? I do that with my mom. Love my mom dearly, but I'm at a place with my mom. Like, if this is going to go left, or you're going to take this somewhere that is going to make me unhappy or uncomfortable, I said, this conversation's over.
Yeah.
You know, she can think that that's rude and disrespectful because she's my
And
mother,
she
I'm her
does.
daughter, and I'm not honoring her, and she does.
Yes.
I'm learning to honor myself, because I was an adult. I'm not going to stand here just because you're my mother, that you're going to speak to me and disrespect me, because then what am I teaching myself? And then
That is okay.
And what am I teaching my daughters?
That is
Because
okay.
if my daughters witness that, then my daughters think that if my mother can speak to me that way, then they think somehow they can come at me sideways. And that's a whole different thing.
And you know
Right?
what? That becomes common in some people's households with parents and children, where the adults can talk crazy each other in front of kids, and now the children
And the
feel like,
kids are
oh,
talking
well,
crazy.
oh,
Like,
you like that, huh?
yeah, that's what. So that, okay. I don't know if anybody watched Wayne's skits. Country Wayne, he has a bunch of skits, but it's a mother that is sleeping with her best friend's husband. I mean, boyfriend. The daughter was having some problems with her boyfriend, and she told her mom, like, Mom, this is, you shouldn't be into this debate. You should take a seat. And she said, because you over here messing around with your friend, and you okay with that, and I'm not okay with that. So I'm gonna say something to him just because. And but it was such a green eye, because she has decided how my mom is rolling. That's not how I want to do my life. So, Mom, I don't want your opinion, because the way you are operating is not how I want to see my life.
I mean, and that's great. I think that's great that someone's willing to do that. But what I experience in the majority is that most children
it normally goes the opposite direction.
Correct.
Yes,
correct. But for someone to do that, I know personally from me, there's been a lot of things that I have had to unlearn in my family system. As much as I love my family, I was like, I don't know. You know, my mother and father grew up with the idea of do as I say, not as I do. I don't know the last time somebody checked that in a dictionary, but that's called being a hypocrite. Right? And God didn't call me for that. So I've worked really hard.
Oh,
to have
most
integrity.
of us have, Natasha.
Right?
But I was just saying, like, because sometimes our kids will call us back on our hypocrite stuff. Like,
as they should. And now we will get offended.
But then a mother wants to get all mad.
When that little girl, like you said, the little girl said, but Mama, this is what the Bible said that we are. Like that. Yes.
Like that.
In my younger years, the B word was a fighting word for me. Now I handle it with grace, saying that the person doesn't understand how offensive it is to say that word.
I want to comment on that really quickly. Miss Phyllis, I want to give you some words of encouragement. The word isn't offensive if you perceive it to be offensive. Here's how I look at that young lady. She does not have an expansive vocabulary, and she's emotionally unintelligent.
Oh,
there's a difference. The B word is not offensive to me, because I'm going to say it again. I know that I'm not a B.
Because it's
and how you define a B. So it's not offensive. You could call me B all day long. I know who I am. It doesn't offend me. What it tells me is that your vocabulary isn't expansive. It tells me that you're emotionally unintelligent, and clearly you have low self-worth, that you think referring to yourself or other women as B is a way to be.
That's good.
Right? It's about perception.
That's good.
I don't let people ruffle my feathers the way that they used to, because I would have this definition, because Miss Phyllis, like you, I just needed you to look at me the wrong way, and I was a reason for a fight. Right? I just wanted you to roll your eyes at me because it's going down. Okay?
Who's she rolling her eyes at?
Who's she rolling her eyes at? And I'm coming for you. Right?
I know she ain't talking to me. Who's she talking to?
No, she didn't roll her eyes. I know.
But that little girl inside of me that was doing that was full of anger, had low self-worth, had no value, disrespected herself time and time again. So I didn't care. So I showed up and I showed out every chance I got. Today, you could roll your eyes till the cows come home.
Stomp
You could
your
roll it
feet.
into the back of your head. You could stomp your feet. I am still moving in the direction in which the Lord called me because I don't have time. I don't engage in that kind of
But you know
stuff.
what, Natasha? But because you're healed, it
Mm-hmm.
allows you not to get riled up about things.
I
When you
don't
get to a
engage.
place where you are good with who you are, other people's actions don't impact you the way
No.
they used to. When you're still hurting and you're still going through some things, Miss Phyllis said, absolutely. When you're
Yep.
still hurting and going through some things, people can easily trigger you and they can say things to get you out of character because you're operating from a place that's unhealed. So therefore,
Correct.
you feel like you have to defend yourself. You feel like you have to go toe to toe. You feel like you got to whoop somebody's behind. When you're healed from some things, it doesn't really matter what you think, what you say. I don't owe you an explanation, and I don't really even have time to even waste my brain space trying to figure out why you said what you said.
Correct.
Yeah.
You
Correct.
know what I'm
A
saying?
thousand percent.
It's the maturity and the healing and the progression that the growth that you've experienced in yourself that keeps you from always feeling like you got to clap back at somebody all
Yeah,
the time.
you know your worth.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know your worth.
because
But
that
even
clapback is hard work. Like that, they
the
get
clap
tired of
back,
every single time I gotta fight you. I gotta
yeah,
find something to clap
because
back
that's
at.
a
And
different
oh,
that's another form of fighting. You may not be physically fighting, but you're fighting with words. So that's another level of feeling like you have to defend yourself against something that
So
doesn't require a defense.
so that ties back into our mental and intellectual. That's one of our boundaries, right? Learning to
Yes.
protect your thoughts, learning to protect your opinions, learning to realize that not every fight that you're invited to that you have to attend or you have to RSVP to. Again, people can't fight without engagement by another person. Also, just going to be standing there in the middle of the street fighting themselves, and somebody's going to call the cops and have them Baker acted or put them in a psychiatric hold,
cause
right?
she crazy. Like
Because she out there just fighting with herself. So,
Right.
let
Right.
that work itself out.
You're a public disturbance, ma'am. We're
Exactly.
gonna have to take you out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
you're gonna have to
or
go.
what about Natasha when you bring other people to the fight? Like why are you bringing somebody because you felt away? Now
Because
I'm
you
gonna
want an
go get my
audience.
people.
Well,
Well, you
because you
want
don't
an
have
audience.
you want an audience, but you don't have a hula hoop, and clearly your friends don't have hula hoops either. So they're just coming
Well,
on
you
because they're like,
normally
let's
hang
go.
around non-hula hoop. Like if
Be-
you if you're not a hula hooper, then
You're
you
not going to
got
surround yourself with hula hoopers. Correct.
yes.
Correct. All right. I know that we have 10 minutes. So far, I think we've talked about emotional boundaries. We talked some physical boundaries. The next thing and we talked about intellectual boundaries. So another one I want to talk about is time boundaries. Um,
Time.
Time boundaries is big. So it's about showing up late. And oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late. Okay, well, you knew what time the appointment was. And did you not have the courtesy? You didn't realize that 5 minutes before the time was due that you were going to be late, that you could have communicated with somebody to let them know, like being able to respect people's time, right? I always say people's time is of value,
It is.
yours and mine. And so, if I have something to do, I'm not going to sit here and just let you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and watch the time pass by. And I'm not getting to my next appointment or my next thing, right? I will need to communicate with you like, this is a great conversation. However, I have another appointment or I have somewhere to be. And so unfortunately, I have to go. You could sit here and still keep talking if you'd like, but I'm not going to be able to be a part of that conversation because I've got somewhere to be. And a lot of us, again, don't respect our own time, much less to respect the time of other people.
And even in the midst of the conversation, Natasha, a lot of times we don't direct well. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is if you have someone who's talking and they're rambling and they're telling you all about their day or whatever, and then you let them do all that, and then you say, well, you know what, I got to go. And they're like, oh, but I didn't. had you said, you know what, before we get all into this, I've only got about 15 minutes. So, let's, and we can be more constructive. But what we do is
Correct.
we allow people to go ahead and go on and do what they do. And then you tell them, well, you know what, I can't really,
I
no,
gotta go.
we're here for a purpose, right? So we've got to learn how to manage and
That's it.
direct the conversations and connections that we're trying to establish, so that if somebody's chit chatting and going on, you say, "Hey, I'm so glad to see you, and it's so good to catch up. I don't have time because I have an appointment in a few minutes, so let's
And
talk
that's a
about what we need to
boundary.
talk about."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the
Angela,
boundary
you
right
do that
there.
well too. You do that really well. Like you will say, I have a 9 o'clock appointment. Like as soon as you get on, you will say, I have a meeting in the next 30 minutes. So if you
So
can't
let's get to
wrap
it.
this up in this little
Mhm.
thing,
Or
I'm
chat,
telling you,
chat for
I
another
have an
30 minutes if you need
appointment.
to. Just know that.
I'm out at 9 o'clock or at
Hey,
the
And
next.
she's gone. Like I'm not gonna be late to my next appointment because
Well, that
you
sets
want
the
me to give you
stage.
all this. Yeah.
But think about it, that sets the stage, because once I'm late for one appointment, I'm going to be late for all appointments.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. And I have actually made that mistake in therapy myself, where I started 10 minutes late with a client, and it's almost, no matter how hard I try, I find myself for the rest of the
You
day
can't
just being
catch
10
it
minutes
back
late
up.
into, I can't seem to catch it back up. And so it's about working better at your own time management.
Ooh,
Right.
that's good. Yeah.
We'll say somebody is occupying my time. No, you need to let them know that your time can't be occupied for that length of time.
Yeah.
Again, it all comes back on us, right?
And people like, I got caught in traffic. Well, you knew that you had to travel here, so you know, and I'm working. This is my work on. Like you gonna run it. Like you're in Atlanta.
Calculate the time.
Traffic is
And
guaranteed.
or
It's a guarantee.
and or communicate ahead of time to let people know, because that person may have something else going on, and two things can happen. It happened with me with a realtor the other day. I happened to get on the highway, and then the lanes were shut down because of a really bad accident, and I texted her and I said, I'm going to be 30 minutes later because of this. I said, do we need to reschedule? And she said, absolutely not. She says, if your morning's open, mine's open, don't worry about it.
That's
We
respectful,
communicated
though.
about it. Absolutely. Because I was supposed to be there at 9 with that accident. I didn't get there till 9:30. But what if she had a 9:30? What if she had a 10 o'clock? I can't just assume because I'm running late, she's going to sit and wait for me.
absolutely.
And people do that, right?
Yes, because what the thing is, for a lot of people, you don't think about the consequences. So if you're going to be late and you don't communicate it, you have to be okay with whatever the consequences are. If somebody says, "Oh, well, hey, I didn't know that you were still coming. I didn't hear from you, so we closed." Or
Mhm.
I had to leave. I was sitting here waiting on you, and you just assumed I was staying. And instead of blowing up, then, well, she could have waited. She knew I was coming, or whatever. We tend to put things back on other people that
Yes.
really are our responsibilities. And so when you know that actions have consequences, good or bad, that's just the reality of life. And when you can take accountability for your portion of it, because again, like Natasha said, it takes two to tango. Well, in any relationship that breaks up,
Mm-hmm.
It's
you
not
got to
just the
take
other
accountability
person.
for you. It's not just the other person. You can't run around and say all men are dogs because you
Correct.
were in a situation, and
Yes.
you know what I'm saying, or all women
And
are,
people.
you know what I'm saying. You have to be able to manage and take accountability for why things got to that point. If
Yes.
Natasha, my relationship gets messed up along the way, it's either because somebody's feelings was hurt and we didn't talk about it. Somebody
No
had an opinion,
communication.
Yep.
we didn't
It
have, we didn't,
comes, and I always say the core of any disruption or dysfunction is due to a lack of communication or a breakdown in
exactly,
communication, because it takes
exactly.
two to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is the foundation of any type of relationship that you're going to
Mhm.
have, even within family systems. We didn't communicate effectively. So
Yep.
people were left to formulate their own opinion and or
Mhm.
perspective of something. And depending
Mhm.
upon how that made them feel, that's what led to the decisions that people made single-handedly, and not as a couple or not as a collective. We
Mhm.
all made
Yeah.
our own individual decisions. And
And
now we're
didn't
like,
tell
oh, well, it's
anybody.
their fault.
So,
Correct. And
so,
then we want
so
to blame
now,
somebody else.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now you're sitting around here mad all the time. So when you see this person, instead of you seeing them at the family reunion and being like, "Hey, girl, oh my God, I haven't seen you in years," you're still swole because she took the
You like,
hamburger that you was getting ready to get on the grill that was seasoned
like
up just right,
your lip
and she
broke
ate
out.
it. And you looking at her like, "See, every time I get around her, that she always somewhere eating up everything. Girl, she get on my nerves. I hope she don't come to the family reunion this time because she know I don't deal with her." That woman don't know that. She don't have any idea that you're still mad from 6 years ago at the last event. That we tend to hold on to things so long that are so
Oh,
irrelevant.
so long.
It's such wasted energy for you to have to be carrying something that long, and then worse
Yes.
off that the person doesn't even know that you're carrying it that long.
They
So
have zero
you're just
idea
punishing
that you're
yourself
mad.
Because guess what? Most of y'all don't even remember exactly what happened. You don't
while
even
you were mad in the
remember.
first place.
Do you know? I don't know if y'all got to see. I don't know if I sent it to y'all, but they did some several clips with Cat Williams and Kevin Hart. And
Yeah.
Kevin was being roasted, and so they chose Cat to be one of the people to roast him. At the end, after all the roasting, Kevin said, "You know what? I want to go ahead and say that I know that we've had beef over these years, and if it's okay with you, let's just go on and squash it." And so they had a conversation. They hugged it out.
So
What if
mature.
he had went on and he had been mad, like even though he kikied at some of them jokes and things, what if he had still been mad and said, "You know what, I can't stand him," and after the fact, still holding on, he did it in public, but still later on see Cat somewhere and don't speak, or have conversations with other people about what was said. You gotta know yourself. Like Sparks
Yep.
said, you gotta know yourself. You gotta know what you're dealing with, and then you're gonna have conversations with people about it so that people can give an opportunity to
Give them
talk
an
about it and
opportunity.
figure out, yes, like I can
But if
maybe I
you're
can tell, maybe I can apologize, or maybe I can explain why or something, because sometimes people feel like they need
But
explanations or
but
something.
some
but if
Angela,
you're
but
fear
that
driven,
sounds beautiful. But sometimes people already come in with their set, like I can
They
try to
do.
explain myself, but it's no point of me explaining myself. So let me know if you already have a made up mind. If you had a made up mind,
I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I
mhm,
understand that because I can be petty and be like, "Boo, okay, what we doing? We ain't talking. We ain't got to talk till 2039, as far as I'm concerned." But if we're healing for real, the conversation should be, "I hate that you feel that way. And really, I'm very surprised. It's taking me by surprise and I'm hurt behind it. I would love to have a conversation once you are able to, maybe talk
receive
at a
it.
separate time. But
Receive it.
maybe this is not the time."
I agree with Angela. And I would say that it's not an explanation. I'm not going into it to explain myself,
mhm,
rationalize
Yeah,
myself,
yeah.
justify
Hmm.
myself. I am here to acknowledge the truth.
Right.
That's what it's about. And you're right. There are people, Sparkle, that are not in a place to receive that. So that's one of the things that, again, here's another boundary. It's coming in to say, like, I would like to have a conversation about the beef that we have. Are you in a place to hear me? I'm in a place to hear you. That starts it right there. And you
Yes.
give the person the opportunity to say to you, then maybe they're not, because maybe
mhm,
they're not over it. And if they're not, then this conversation doesn't go
mhm,
anywhere else.
okay,
Right.
Right.
Because it has to be,
And
we can't always duke it out at the time everybody's mad. Sometimes what they say,
yeah,
cooler heads prevail. So when I'm in my feelings, of course I'm gonna be like, "I can't stand you. You get out my face. I don't even really want to hear what you're talking about." I might not feel like that in 2 weeks. I might be cool enough to say, "Let me go on and listen to what this girl gonna say," because we were cool. I do love her, and I'm just upset right now. And now that I've calmed down, I'm willing to listen. But we also have to be willing to acknowledge that and say, "You might have had your feelings hurt, but what you said hurt me too." So how
mhm,
do we
so,
get past that if that's what you want to do?
so one of the things I do with couples is I give them a minimum of 2 hours and a maximum of 2 days to come back and rectify an issue.
okay.
Because and if we don't put those parameters on there, some people will not come back to the table, right? No, I mean that's just even truth. They will not come back to the table. So if you
Okay.
really
They wait
value
till
that relationship,
2039. Look, they wait until 2039 to resolve their issue.
Yeah,
if you really value your relationship and it's mutual, both
yes,
Yes.
need
if
to
you
agree that
value
they're
it.
correct. If you don't
And that
value
is
it,
the
then it
thing.
just
It
kind of
has to be a
falls by the
value on
wayside.
both ends. Because if you don't care, you don't care. And if you don't care, you can move on about your business and say, hey, and that's what leads to, sometimes people feel like I've done all that I can do, whether that's
Mhm.
true or not. And
So
that's why you get divorces or you get breakups and friendships or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Things
I know
happen.
we're at the top of the hour, and I want to just kind of, unfortunately, we have to kind of just race through this stuff. There's three more I wanted to mention. There's
Okay.
financial boundaries, sexual boundaries, spiritual boundaries, and relationship
Digital.
boundaries.
Oh.
Oh, did I skip digital? Oh, so there was five. I'm sorry. Let me do it again. Hold on.
Maybe we should come back tomorrow and finish them up.
Financial boundaries, sexual boundaries, spiritual boundaries, digital boundaries, and relationship boundaries, right? So there's a lot of boundaries here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to maybe post that, repost that again, if you can
Mm-hmm.
give that list to everybody.
Okay.
I wanted to touch on sexual boundaries really quickly because a lot of us do this, and when we say sexual boundaries, it's not just about actual sex and intercourse, but it's how we like to touch on people. Right. Some people like to go in and just give
Mm.
a hug without even asking the person if they're even a hugger and if even they welcome a
Mm.
hug. Right. Or we might be joking and we touch somebody or pat them on the back or we're just in somebody's personal space. We have to learn to ask people whether that's
That's good.
comfortable for them or not. Now, if somebody does that inadvertently, you then need to be the one that says, I'm not okay with that, or I'm not comfortable with that, or that makes me uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong in speaking your truth. A lot of
Mm.
us are so fear driven and fear based, like, well, I don't want to make them mad and I don't want to offend them and I don't want to this. And you're so much more consumed and concerned with what's going on with them that you totally ignore and disrespect what is important and is of value to you. If I just met you,
Mm.
please don't touch me, right? And please don't come this close to my personal space that I can't even breathe,
Breathe.
right? You know what I mean? So you've got to learn to speak up. That's why my business is called Empowered Voices. We have to empower our voice and advocate for ourselves. If you
That's
don't
good,
advocate for
Natasha.
you, no one's going to advocate for you, right?
And Natasha, let me add to that because we're talking about, people touch you. Even when you're in situations where conversations are being had and sexually explicit conversations are being had, if you are not the person that wants to talk about those things, then you need to say, I'm not comfortable with this type of conversation. Other
Hmm.
people may freely tell you about their sex life, how they doing, and they flipped up, rub down,
Yes.
and all that.
Hmm.
Some people, that's not what they want to talk about, and you have to be comfortable with saying, you know what, let me remove myself from this conversation, or sexual jokes or different things. You have to think it's not just, even with talking, I mean touching, even what's being said, sometimes it
Correct.
can be
So
uncomfortable.
about 20, God, actually longer, probably 30 years ago, I actually got called to HR for a third party sexual harassment charge against me. There was a doctor on the floor in which I worked. Every day he saw me, he would compliment me, he would flirt with me. And this nurse who was within earshot felt he wasn't being fair to everybody else. And his compliment, I wouldn't say it was inappropriate, he would compliment me, just, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. She found that to be offensive, and we were actually in the wrong. And that was a very eye-opening thing for me, because like you just said, he was directing that conversation to me, but it's within earshot of other people. And what they said to him is, what he was not responding to the boundaries of the other women on the floor. I was flabbergasted. I mean, this was 30 years ago. I was a lot younger, but I was so mindful and cognizant of that when you're speaking, pay attention to
To the
your
room.
surroundings and
Hmm.
yeah, read the room
Yeah.
and realize that what you're talking about might only be meant for one person privately, and use your inside voice, not your outside voice inside, right?
Right.
These are just little things that people don't think about. One of the others that
Right.
I want to touch on is a spiritual boundary. My beliefs are my beliefs and your beliefs are your beliefs. We need to stop running around here and telling people what we think they should believe and shouldn't believe when it comes to God and
That's so
spirituality,
good.
right? You have a right to believe what you want to believe. Now, whether you think that they're going to go somewhere or not go somewhere, that is your opinion and that is your perspective, but it is not your place to be telling people what you think they should and shouldn't be. Let people learn about God, let them learn about a higher power. That is their spiritual journey for them to learn for themselves. You can always share your experience, strength, and hope, but to be able to tell people that they're right or wrong, or they're good or bad because they're not doing what you're doing, or they're not doing it the way you're doing it, that is highly inappropriate. And that is, there's no boundaries there. And that in itself is also very offensive. So that's all I got
Well,
to say.
that's it. That's all.
Ah, baby, that was a lot packed into that. We may have
I
to kind of break
know.
it down a little bit.
Yeah, that
Um,
might be. I have to come back because that was a lot for.
yeah,
To
yeah,
digest. I know.
yeah, a lot to
Yes.
digest, but at the same
Because
time,
we
it's
all
good.
found, I know every person in something found themselves like, woo,
Mine was
okay.
time.
Yes. Like,
Mine was time. I'm still working on my time boundaries for sure.
but we will see you back on tomorrow. Thankful
Yeah,
Thursday. This week has went by so fast.
yes, it has.
But we're at the end of the hour. Thank you. We do apologize that we stayed over a little bit longer than because we prioritize your time. So we apologize for staying over past the hour.
Time boundary. Work in progress,
But
folks.
but
Hey,
we
Work
need
in
it.
progress.
however,
Not a
don't
but.
disrespect yourself. If you gotta go, you can come back and catch the replay later because it will be available.
So have a blessed day. We believe God. Do you believe God? We believe God. We believe God. Have a winning Wednesday with those boundaries.
Yes.